3 ordinary pennies that could make you rich. The shocking truth behind the 1967, 1978, and 1983 Lincoln cents that collectors are hunting right now. A coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but carries a rich and fascinating history that stretches back more than a century. To truly understand the 1967 Lincoln penny, we must go back to the origins of the Lincoln cent itself. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. The decision to put Lincoln on the cent marked a turning point in American numismatics, and the public reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Victor David Brenner, the designer of the original Lincoln cent, created a portrait of Lincoln based on a photograph taken by Matthew Brady in 1864, and the design was instantly iconic, but there was early controversy, as Brenner had placed his initials VDB prominently on the reverse at the bottom of the coin, which led to criticism and their removal after only a short production run, making the 1909 SVDB one of the most sought-after and valuable Lincoln cents ever minted over the years. The Lincoln penny saw several subtle and not-so-subtle design changes, including modifications to Lincoln's bust, the lettering, and the wheat ears on the reverse, which remained until 1958, when the reverse design changed to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the penny itself. Fast forward to 1967, and the United States was in the middle of significant social, economic, and political change. The Vietnam War, civil rights movement, and space race were shaping the nation, and in the coin world, a major issue of coin hoarding and a resulting coin shortage had prompted the U.S. Mint to make several temporary policy changes in the mid-1960s. One of the most notable was the decision to suspend the use of mint marks from 1965 to 1967. This decision meant that all coins, including the 1967 Lincoln penny, were struck without mint marks, making it impossible to distinguish where they were produced. This was done to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on mint origin and to keep more coins in circulation. The 1967 Lincoln penny was minted in large quantities at all 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But again, none of the coins carry a mint mark, so identifying the mint of origin is generally not possible for circulated examples. However, with some advanced techniques and die analysis, some experts can attribute a few coins to specific mints, especially those that show distinct characteristics in the strike quality or die, where the composition of the 1967 Lincoln cent remained the same as in previous years, at 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was before the shift in 1982 to the modern copper-plated zinc core penny. Due to rising metal costs, the weight of the 1967 penny is 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters and a plain edge. What makes the 1967 Lincoln penny particularly interesting for collectors is not just the mintage or its lack of mint mark, but the varieties and errors that emerged during this time. The mint was producing coins at a high rate, and with fewer quality control measures compared to today, this led to a number of notable errors that have become quite collectible today. Among these are double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and clipped planchets. One of the most desirable errors from this year is the 1967 doubled die obverse, where strong doubling can be seen on the date and lettering, though scarce, it is a sought-after piece in high grades, and certified examples can fetch significant premiums on the market in addition to error coins. Proof coins were not struck in 1967 due to the Mint's focus on eliminating the coin shortage and discouraging collecting. As a result, the Mint issued special mint sets, or SMS coins, from 1965 through 1967. These sets were not proof, but were higher quality than regular business. Strikes struck with more care and often showing better surfaces, and strikes the 1967 SMS Lincoln cent is known for having a sharper strike and in many cases a satin-like finish which appeals to collectors, but grading these coins can be tricky since SMS coins fall somewhere between business strikes and proofs and must be evaluated carefully by experts in high grades, especially MS-67 and above these coins. Can command impressive values from collectors who want to complete high-quality date sets over the years. The 1967 Lincoln penny has gained appreciation not only as a vintage copper cent, but as a piece of history from a transitional period in American coinage and society. It serves as a reminder of how economic pressures and national policy can directly influence the coinage that millions of people use. Every day, as we look at surviving examples from this year, especially those in brilliant uncirculated condition or with unique varieties, we see the legacy of a coin that bridged tradition and change in U.S. minting practices for collectors, understanding the subtle nuances of this coin, including die varieties, strike differences, and surface quality can provide a rewarding experience and potentially uncover hidden value in what might at first appear to be a common penny. This journey through the 1967 Lincoln penny is also a reflection on how even the most modest coins in our pockets can carry stories of the past, craftsmanship, politics, economics, and human ingenuity. The fact that this single cent represents all of these layers is what makes numismatics so fascinating for so many people, whether you are a beginner, just learning about Lincoln cents, or an experienced collector. Searching for high-end varieties, the 1967 Lincoln penny offers depth, rarity, history, and beauty. And with that, we will now explore various specimens under magnification, compare different grades, examine known errors, and take a look at auction results and values to help you better identify what makes a 1967 Lincoln cent worth collecting and how you can spot the most valuable examples in circulation or in your own collection. So stay tuned as we go deeper into the world of the 1967 Lincoln penny right here on the channel. As of recent years, auction records show that top-graded 1967 Lincoln cents in MS-67 red condition have sold for several $100s, with a few exceptional examples surpassing the $1,000 mark, particularly when the coin is free of distracting spots, has full luster, and excellent eye appeal. Coins from SMS sets in SP67 or SP68 condition can also bring strong premiums, especially when designated with the cameo or deep cameo label, which indicates a strong contrast between frosted devices and mirrored fields. These designations are relatively rare for 1967 SMS Lincoln cents and are highly prized among specialists. Looking beyond individual coins, the 1967 Lincoln cent is part of a broader numismatic trend that reflects the changing nature of American coin collecting during the 1960s. It marks a time when the mint was adjusting its priorities, transitioning from silver-based coinage to base metals, implementing quality control innovations like hub design standardization, and trying to balance public demand with economic pressures. The removal of mint marks and the end of proof coins during this period reveal how the mint attempted to de-incentivize hoarding and speculation in an increasingly unstable economy. For the modern collector, the 1967 Lincoln penny offers more than just a challenge in acquiring a high-grade example. It offers an opportunity to study mint policy era production, transitional design elements, and the socio-economic conditions of mid-century America. The coin may be common in lower grades, but it contains immense historical depth when examined through a numismatic lens. In this channel, we often talk about value, rarity, and market trends, but it's just as important to understand the stories behind the coins and what they represent about the times in which they were made, whether you're collecting Lincoln cents by year and mint mark, or focusing on specific varieties, errors, or die states. The 1967 penny provides a cornerstone example of how much history can be packed into a simple 1-cent piece. And if you're lucky enough to find one in high mint state condition with a rare variety or from a high-quality SMS set, then you may just be holding a piece of numismatic gold. As we continue this video, I will now show you detailed close-ups of actual 1967 Lincoln cents, side-by-side comparisons between SMS and business strikes, illustrations of common and rare errors, grading tips based on real submissions, and a walkthrough of recent auction sales so you can know exactly what to look for when evaluating your own collection. So stay with me as we explore every inch of the 1967 Lincoln cent, right here on the channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dive coin history videos, just like this one. 1978 Lincoln penny. A coin that may seem ordinary to some, but holds decades of history legacy and subtle numismatic value for collectors and enthusiasts alike. Now, the 1978 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regularly issued United States coin to feature a real historical figure, and it was introduced during a time of significant national change, designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials initially sparked controversy when they appeared too prominently on the reverse of the 1909 version. The Lincoln cent became one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in American history. The design featured the profile bust of Lincoln on the obverse, a solemn yet approachable portrayal of the 16th president, whose leadership preserved the Union during the Civil War, and whose image became a symbol of unity, integrity, and American values over the decades. The reverse design of the Lincoln cent remained the wheat ears design from 1909 through 1958, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural strength until it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was created by Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time, and it added a monumental element to the coin, literally placing Lincoln within the memorial on the reverse and making him the only person depicted on both the obverse and reverse of a single U.S. coin. If you look closely at the Lincoln Memorial on the coin, you can actually see a tiny outline of the seated Lincoln statue in the center of the monument, showing the attention to detail and respect for history embedded in the coin. Now fast forward to 1978, the Lincoln penny continued its long run in American pockets, purses, and piggy banks, minted primarily at two major U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver, and these coins bear either no mint mark or the small D mark respectively. The composition of the 1978 penny remained the same as it had been since 1962, a blend of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving the coin its iconic reddish-brown color. Though with age and circulation, many of these coins take on deeper, darker tones due to oxidation and handling. Over the years, it is worth noting that 1982 marked a major shift in the composition of the Lincoln cent, transitioning to a copper-plated zinc planche to save on production costs. So the 1978 coin is part of the final stretch of traditional copper pennies and therefore of special interest to collectors who value pre-1982 copper cents not only for their history, but also for their intrinsic metal content. Looking closely at the 1978 Lincoln penny, you will notice several features that define its look. The inscriptions on the obverse include Liberty, the date 1978, and the national motto, In God We Trust, all encircling the enduring image of Lincoln facing right with a thoughtful expression. His collar detailed, and his hair and facial features engraved with remarkable precision, even after years of wear. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial with the words, United States of America, above E pluribus unum, centered beneath, and 1 cent boldly below, a simple yet iconic layout that lasted from 1959 until 2008, when it was retired in favor of the Lincoln Bicentennial and later the Union Shield design in 2010 throughout 1978. The mints produced more than 8 billion Lincoln cents, with over 4.2 billion struck in Philadelphia and over 4.2 billion in Denver, making the 1978 Lincoln penny one of the most common coins of its era. But as collectors know, rarity is not the only value factor condition. Mint errors and historical context all play major roles. For example, a 1978 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially Those graded MS-66 or higher by professional grading services can command a premium in the market, while most circulated 1978 pennies may be worth just face value or slightly more in copper melt value. It is the high-grade and error varieties that spark the true interest of numismatists. Errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets have been found among 1978 cents, and these anomalies can fetch significant attention and value, especially when authenticated and certified by recognized grading institutions. Furthermore, the 1978 penny holds a place in the cultural and economic backdrop of the late 1970s, a time when the United States faced inflation, energy crises, and social shifts, yet still retained traditions such as the enduring Lincoln cent, which continued to symbolize a sense of continuity and stability amidst change. The coin circulated during the presidencies of Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter, both of whom dealt with the complexities of a changing world, and yet this small 1-cent piece remained a part of daily commerce, savings, and childhood collections across the country. For coin collectors, the 1978 penny is often part of a broader effort to collect every year and mint mark in the Lincoln Memorial Series, a popular and affordable goal for beginners and seasoned numismatists alike. And because it is one of the last copper-based pennies before the 1982 transition, many collectors seek to stockpile them in rolls, bags, and albums. As both a historical and speculative investment, over the years countless people have found 1978 pennies in change, and while most are common, the thrill of discovering a high-grade or error coin makes the hunt worthwhile. So as we explore the story of the 1978 Lincoln penny, we do more than just look at a coin we connect with over a century of design artistry, political tribute, economic history, and cultural memory, all encapsulated in a small, round piece of metal that has passed through the hands of millions, perhaps even billions, and continues to be cherished, studied, and appreciated today. As we go deeper into this video, we will examine how the coin was made, how dies are used to strike the design onto blank planchets, how mint marks are applied, and how wear patterns and toning can tell stories about where a coin has been and how long it circulated. We will also look at real market examples, including auction sales, certified coin slabs, and close-up magnified details to help you spot a gem in your own pocket change or collection. This is not just a coin, it is a story, and we are going to tell it from every angle. So stay tuned as we uncover the complete legacy of the 1978 Lincoln penny right here on the channel where coins come to life. To understand the significance of the 1978 Lincoln penny, we must dive deeper into the legacy of the Lincoln cent as a whole, because each year of this series reflects the story of America through war, peace, economic shifts, and evolving minting technology. First issued in 1909 under President Theodore Roosevelt's administration, the Lincoln cent marked the beginning of a new era in United States coinage design. Roosevelt was determined to bring artistic excellence to American coins and thus invited artists like Augustus St. Gaudens and Victor David Brenner to design coinage that reflected the dignity of the nation. Brenner, a Lithuanian immigrant and medalist, crafted the now iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln based on a photograph taken by Matthew Brady. The image was celebrated for its realism and reverence, and it replaced the liberty-themed designs that had graced American cents for over a century. As we trace the journey of the Lincoln cent through the 20th century, we see how each minting year became a snapshot of the era. It was born into the 1940s. Lincoln cents were made of steel, coated with zinc in 1943. Due to copper being redirected to the war effort, the 1950s saw a nation rebuilding and prospering. The 1960s introduced minor font and spacing changes, while the 1970s were marked by inflation, coin hoarding, and a renewed interest in coin collecting. The 1978 Lincoln penny was minted just 4 years before the copper content was drastically reduced due to rising material costs, making it one of the last years of what many collectors call real pennies, the ones that contain actual value in their metal content. 95% copper and 5% zinc, to be exact, with each penny weighing 31 grams and measuring 19 millimeters in diameter. These coins were struck using high-pressure presses that forced the die impressions into the blank planchets, which were fed automatically, and struck at speeds of hundreds of coins per minute. This efficiency allowed the mints to produce billions of coins each year. And yet, despite their abundance, the artistry and quality of the engraving remained largely intact, especially on coins struck early in the die life with minimal wear. The 1978 coins from the Denver Mint bear the D mint mark located just below the date, while those from Philadelphia have no mint mark, which was standard practice at the time. Philadelphia mint marks would only begin appearing again on the cent starting in 2017 for a special occasion to honor the mint's 225th anniversary. Collectors often examine coins from both mints to compare strike quality with Denver, typically producing sharper details due to more modern equipment and less die fatigue. During that period, some coins from 1978 display weak strikes or die wear, resulting in blurry or incomplete details, particularly in Lincoln's hair and the columns of the memorial, which can affect a coin's grade and value. Speaking of grading, let us take a closer look at how the 1978 penny is assessed by numismatists using the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from poor 1 to mint state 70. Most circulated 1978 cents fall into the VF or EF range, meaning very fine or extremely fine with minor to moderate wear on the high points, but uncirculated examples graded MS-60 or higher are valued for their sharpness, luster, and eye appeal. Coins graded MS-65 or higher, especially those with red designation, indicating original mint red color, are sought after and can sell for significant premiums, according to recent auction data. A 1978 D Lincoln cent, graded MS-67 red by PCGS or NGC, can fetch over $100, and even more if it is a rare top population coin among its peers. Error coins add another layer of interest to this year. Collectors should be aware of known varieties, including doubled die obverse examples in which letters and digits appear doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, while major doubled dies for 1978 are not as well documented as in other years. Minor doubling and mechanical doubling can still be found and can be exciting discoveries for the sharp-eyed collector. Other mint errors, like off-center strikes where the coin is partially blank, die cracks where the design appears split or raised lines appear on the coin, and clipped planchets where the coin has a crescent-shaped edge due to a miscut are all possible within the 1978 mintage and can dramatically increase a coin that has stood the test of time and become one of the most iconic and beloved pieces of American currency. The story of the Lincoln penny begins over a century ago, when the United States was preparing to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth in 1909. Until then, the U.S. 1-cent coin featured the image of Lady Liberty in various artistic renditions. But the idea of placing an actual historical figure on U.S. coinage had not yet been implemented. President Theodore Roosevelt, who had long been an advocate for improving the artistic quality of American coinage, saw the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth as the perfect opportunity to honor one of the most respected and admired presidents in the history of the United States. Roosevelt commissioned sculptor Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian immigrant who had established a reputation as a skilled metallist and engraver, to design a coin bearing the image of Lincoln. Brenner's design was inspired by a profile portrait he had created of Lincoln based on a photograph taken by Matthew Brady. The result was a simple yet dignified depiction of Lincoln's bust facing right, which would become the first time a real person appeared on a circulating American coin. The reverse side of the coin originally featured 2 stalks of wheat curving along the edges with the words 1 cent and United States of America in the center, along with the Latin phrase e pluribus unum. This design quickly gained the nickname wheat penny or wheat cent. The Lincoln wheat penny made its official debut on August Penny made its official debut on August 2nd, 1909, and it immediately sparked public interest and some controversy. One of the key points of contention was the prominent display of Brenner's initials VDB at the bottom of the reverse design. Critics felt the initials were too large and amounted to advertising, which led the U.S. Mint to remove them shortly after the coin's release, making the 1909 VDB pennies particularly rare and desirable, especially the 1909 SVDB, which was minted in San Francisco and had a relatively low mintage of only 84,000 coins. This particular coin has since become one of the most valuable and sought-after coins among collectors. The early years of the Lincoln cent saw few changes apart from minor adjustments in die varieties and mint marks, but the basic design remained the same for decades. The wheat reverse continued until 1958. During this time, the coin circulated widely and witnessed numerous historical events from the Great Depression to World War II. And beyond, one notable variation occurred in 1943 when, due to wartime shortages of copper, the U.S. Mint struck the Lincoln cent using zinc-coated steel. Instead of the usual bronze composition, these steel cents are easily recognizable due to their silver appearance and have become a unique chapter in the coin's legacy. Although they served their purpose, they were prone to rusting and were often mistaken for dimes, prompting the mint to revert to a copper-based alloy in 1944, starting in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. The reverse design was changed from the wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This updated design featured the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., and for the first time, a seated image of Lincoln could be seen within the memorial, making it the first coin in U.S. history to depict the same person on both sides. The obverse continued to use Brenner's original portrait. Albeit with slight modifications over the years, the Lincoln Memorial design remained in use for nearly 5 decades, and during that time, the cent underwent changes in composition due to the rising cost of copper in 1982. The U.S. Mint began producing pennies using a copper-plated zinc core instead of the traditional 95% copper alloy. This change was both economical and practical, but it also introduced several variations in the 1982 penny, including differences in weight and in the size of the date numerals, which are now of significant interest to collectors. In 2009, the Lincoln cent saw another major transformation to celebrate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent itself. The U.S. Mint released 4 different reverse designs throughout the year, each representing a different stage of Lincoln's life. The first was the birth and early childhood design, showing a log cabin in Kentucky. The second was the formative years design, showing a young Lincoln reading and taking a break from rail splitting in Indiana. The third was the professional life design, showing Lincoln standing before the old Illinois state capitol where he practiced law and began his political career. And the fourth was the presidency design, which featured the half-completed dome of the U.S. Capitol, representing his time in Washington, D.C., and the trials of his presidency. These coins were not only symbolic, but also educational, offering Americans a glimpse into the life of a man who helped shape the nation. Following the special bicentennial designs, the reverse was permanently changed in 2010 to feature the Union Shield designed by Lyndall Bass and engraved by Joseph Mena. The new reverse features a Union Shield with 13 vertical stripes and a horizontal bar representing Congress. A scroll with the inscription 1 cent crosses the shield, symbolizing the federal government's strength and unity. This new design honors Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single unified nation and continues the tradition of patriotic symbolism in American coinage throughout its long history. The Lincoln penny has experienced countless varieties, errors, and changes from double-die obverses like the famous 1955 doubled die to rare minting mistakes such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and transitional errors. Each of these has become a point of fascination among numismatists and casual collectors alike. The Lincoln cent has also become a cornerstone of American coin collecting due to its wide availability, low cost, and historical significance. It is often the very first coin that young collectors start with, and it provides a tangible link to the country's past from its inception in 1909 to the present day. The Lincoln cent has been a silent witness to over a century of American history wars, cultural shifts, political movements, economic booms and recessions, and countless personal stories of the American people. Its design may have changed and its metal composition may have evolved, but the penny remains a constant reminder of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy and the values he stood for: honesty, unity, perseverance, and equality. Whether found in your pocket change, your grandfather's coin jar, or carefully preserved in a collector's album, the Lincoln penny holds a story of heritage, resilience, and national pride. As we reflect on more than 100 years of this incredible coin, it is clear that the Lincoln cent is far more than just 1 cent. It is a historical artifact, a piece of art, and a tribute to one of America's greatest leaders. And as we continue to move forward into the future, the Lincoln penny remains a timeless symbol of the enduring spirit of the United States of America.